When I read the letter that you wrote me, it made me mad, mad, mad. When I read the words that it told me, it made me sad, sad, sad. But I still love you so, I can't let you go. I love you. Ooh, baby, I love you. Oh. House of the Dragon. That's enough of me singing, and in this video I want to discuss in particular something that I do discuss quite a lot on this channel, but that's Targaryens and their connections with dragons. Before I jump into any of that, please do me a massive favor and slap a like on this video. The like goal will in fact be 42. Get it? And then also, make sure you're subscribed and turn those notifications on. If you've done that, well then you've helped secure your entertainment throughout the wait for House of the Dragon Season 1, or as it's known on this channel, The Long Night. Oh yeah, before I forget. Zaltrizas Bustari Exos Naur. Okay, so the first question I want to propose for this video is, how do the Targaryens control their dragons? Like, obviously, I know how they tame them, and that will be a second question that I pose, but how is it that the Valyrians of old, the Targaryens are included in that, how did they even bond with their dragons? Like, what makes them so special? Now, when you look at the world of Ice and Fire, this is probably completely unrelated, please place your tinfoil caps on, but there's these little monkeys known as little Valyrians. They have purple eyes and blonde, silvery, gray hair, just like the Targaryens. That's why they're called the nickname little Valyrians. There's actually one that's mentioned that is at the Citadel, and students that are, getting examinations, like people who are training to become maesters, during their examinations, they would rub this little Valyrian for good luck, so much so to the point where the monkey's missing hair. Now, that's besides the point, but it's possible that maybe there's a bigger version of those Valyrians, those Valyrian monkeys back in the past, and, humans in actual society and in our world descended from apes, so maybe it's a possibility that the Targaryens descended from those little Valyrians. Like I said, super tinfoil. They could, however, descend, something similar to that, from something known as a shriek, which they're basically these half-lizard, half-man creatures that are south of the Five Forts, or south of Kadath, below the Five Forts, over in way far the hell away from where our main story takes place. But basically, it's said that the first men and the Andals came from this place. It's theorized that they came from this place known as the Silver Sea. So if there's like an origin location, maybe the Valyrians descended from these Shrieks. It is mentioned that the Shrieks themselves could potentially be humans wearing the skins of lizards. We do have dragons in this world. We have creatures that are similar to dragons, but not quite the same. Evolution, something happened to most of these people. So there's a possibility that Targaryens are descended from the lizard men. But I think, and I've been saying this for like a while now in the past couple weeks of my videos, I think the most likely choice is that if there is a god, right, they probably chose the Valyrians to be their holy people, right? So they're chosen people, if you will. So if that's the case, that would make sense as to why they have distinctive features to set them apart from everyone else. That would also make sense as to why they could have something like the Valyrian Freehold, where they could bring so many people under their power and under their control, mostly with slaves, right? But we know, just like in Westeros, that the Valyrians probably would have moved past that, right? So eventually they may have taken over the entire world, all of Planetos that A Song of Ice and Fire is set on. But obviously, the destruction of the Valyrian Freehold put a stop to that. So what I sort of mean is like God's chosen people, right? Is that if there are true deities in Westeros, which there seem to be, right? They're related to the four elements. I mean, literally, the book series is named after ice and fire. Those are two elements. So that means that there are at least fire people chosen by the fire god R'hllor, and ice people chosen by the Great Other, or as we all know him, the many face gods that the forgotten names of the North, the first men, used to worship. The people that the children of the forest and the gods worshipped, right? So they would literally feed these holy trees that they carved faces on. So that god could be the god of ice, and he has his chosen people. Well, there's also other elements. There's earth, and then there's also water and sea, right? And we have certain houses that are more adept at certain things, like the Ironborn believe in the drowned god of the sea, and they sort of live the pirate's life. So I guess what I'm getting at here is if there's a god that represents each element in a Song of Ice and Fire, then they have to have their chosen people. The Targaryens could be the chosen ones for fire. Also, the ability to fly gives you the perspective of seeing how sort of connected the world are, right? Targaryens, Valyrians of old, could travel great distances. That's actually noted in the World of Ice and Fire. Like, that's how they were able to conquer so much. When you're on the back of a dragon, you can fly across the world and not really think about it, right? So if that's the case, you're given this different perspective. You realize how, if you're a good person, well, it's just kind of like, if you're a gray person in this story, if you're like real life humans, you see eventually that there's not much difference between cultures, and eventually society sort of falls into these same traps, and they, do things that may be preventable if there was some foresight. That's kind of what happens with Aegon Targaryen. Because before he even looks west to Westeros, when he's on Dragonstone, he goes off and fights in some wars. And I think that gives him a perspective. It's only a matter of time before that spreads to him. This, in my opinion, is what made him go and conquer Westeros. It's never really mentioned that he had a massive army. He did it with dragons. Dragons represent death, but they also represent stability. So in my opinion, Targaryens may be the actual chosen people, just not because of their being chosen by the fire god, but also because the Valyrians have the ability to see the world from a different angle, and that's important in crazy times when war is literally ravaging the entire world that A Song of Ice and Fire is set in. You need a great equalizer, and that's dragons. Oh man, I feel like I can make a video on that in and of itself. If you guys enjoy these rants that I go on, just let me know down below. The next thing that I want to talk about is how do they control their dragons. Now in the books, it's very clear to us. They use saddles and they use whips. Daenerys did not have a saddle on the Game of Thrones TV show. When you think about it, it's something that's really easy to make. It's literally a couple of pieces of leather that have to strap around the girth of the dragon's neck, and it gives the rider a better position, and it makes them sort of locked on. And I bet you they could do better aerialistics because of saddles. And we've had saddles be leaked. I'm talking about it carefully because I literally got a strike on my channel for showing the image of it, but this new series will have saddles on their dragons, so that's something super exciting. Like literally, Daemon kills his nephew Aemon by not hooking himself into his saddle. And if you didn't have saddles on this show, well, that'd be a big missing piece of his death. It just would kind of be like, oh, okay, well, he did this. Anyway, that's besides the point. Another way they controlled and maintained obedience from their dragons is whips. Daenerys actually uses a whip to sort of tame the rage of Drogon in the pits of Daznak, in the fighting pits of Meereen, and a Dance with Dragons, right? So I've explained this before, but basically Daenerys is surrounded by enemies on all sides, and someone poisoned the honey locusts, right? So Drogon is attracted to the bloodshed that is happening in the fighting pits, and when he shows up, he starts burning people, right? It doesn't help that his Dar's Lorak says, attack, kill the dragon, take it out. But Dany realizes that it could go really bad unless she's able to control her baby. So she uses a whip, and she goes, smack, smack, bad boy. Then she hops on him and flies off. She has an orgasm before the scene ends, but it's amazing. I really suggest you read the Game of Thrones books. So whips will likely be used on the show. And yes, they sound cruel, but it's no more cruel than how a professional horse rider will use spurs to get the horse to do what they want it to. Like, yeah, it probably hurts for sure, but these are fake make-believe dragons, and they're not real. So I think it would be cool to show that the dragons are in fact wild animals, and one of the ways the Targaryens to just sort of take away from some of their mystery about how they control them is by using whips. Because literally Daenerys does it in the books, but Dan and Dave did not do that on the television series. Now the last thing that I want to mention for this video, it's kind of like what the hell, why not? What are these dragons gonna look like, right? So I have seen people in my comment section asking, like, if they're going to do a different color dragon flame. I think that would be cool. I personally think that they should do it. Just thinking down the line in the future when there's several dragons fighting each other, it's going to be hard to tell the difference of whose flame is which, because, you know, it's a lot going on screen. But what do I think? How do I think these dragons are going to stand out from Daenerys' dragons? Now, the dragon that we saw the most in Game of Thrones was Drogon, and he was black. And, like, he has spikes everywhere, a horny face. As he gets bigger, those subside and it's more a shape, but ultimately, these dragons, during a dance of dragons, are colorful as hell. As a matter of fact, Aegon II's dragon, Sunfire the Golden, is said to be the most beautiful dragon of all time. It's described as being golden as fuck. Like, literally, Sunfire had gleaming golden scales, and they ended up shining in the light like beaten gold. The dragon also was contrasted with pale pink membranes. And in the books, his flames were golden as well, but that could just be shown as like an extra yellow type of flame. But the pink offsetting the gold, it's going to be insane. It's literally one of the most gorgeous creatures to ever have existed. Yes, Sunfire is ridden by a douchebag, but for the most part, we're going to realize that the dragons are probably going to be a lot of people's favorite part of this show. Like, even if you may not enjoy the writing as much, visually it's going to be stunning to see these magnificent creatures brought to life on our screens. But alright, I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you could please slap a like on this video. The like goal is going to be 42. Super special shout out to every single member of my Patreon family over on patreon.com/SirHuntsReviews. And if you all are thinking about joining and kicking me an extra couple of bucks because my videos are getting demonetized left and right here on YouTube, well, consider checking out the link down below in the description. My name's Mark, and this has been Sir Hunts. Long night. Thanks for watching. Saldrizos, Buzdari, Ixos, Daur. Oh, you're still here? Alright, well, here's this. First things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil. For real, you the only father that I ever knew. I get my bitch pregnant, I'ma be a better you. Prophecies that I made way back in the veil. Fulfilled. Listen, even back when we was broke and my team ill. Martin Luther King would have been on Dreamville. Talk to him. One time for my LA sister. Two time for my dragon hoes. Alright, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.